This video is about Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is named after the economist Vilfredo Pareto. This rule is widely known as the 80-20 rule. Nowadays, a lot of people know what the Pareto principle says. However, the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto was the first person to think about this distribution. He came up with the distribution in 1896 while working at the University of Lausanne. Not 100% confident about the pronunciation. Anyway, he went on to show that roughly 80% of the land in the entire country of Italy was owned by 20% of the population. There is actually another story, not really proven to be true, about how he actually came up with the wealth distribution inequality. There is a chance that he came up with this theory after observing the pea plants in his own garden. He saw that 80% of the healthy pea pods were generated from only 20% of the pea plants. This principle is popular nowadays after the author Richard Koch came up with the book The 80-20 Principle. This principle is also renowned in the world of business. But the implication in the business world is a little bit different. It is said that 80% sales come from 20% of the clients. So, businesses often try to target and cater their services to those 20% of the clients. And it can be a profitable strategy in most cases. Another example of the Pareto distribution can be the following. You wear 20% of the clothes you own 80% of the times. Now, if you think about it for a second, you might find it to be true. And another example can be that there might also be a chance that you use only 20% of the apps installed in your phone 80% of the time. This 80-20 principle has a lot more implementation in a lot of sectors. But now I'm going to be talking about problem solving. It also has an implication in problem solving. That is, if you successfully solve the most problematic 20%, 80% of your issues will be resolved. That is, if you successfully solve the most problematic 20%, 80% of your issues will be resolved. I can give you a very basic example here. If you are an alcoholic, you can also have a ton of issues in your life, like a lot of issues. Issues like, okay, I'm not going to name any issues. Let's say a lot of issues. Issue number 1, issue number 2, issue number 3. I'm not going to name any issues. Alcoholics are likely to have some issues in their lives. Now, if you try to quit alcohol altogether, I am pretty sure most of your other issues are going to be resolved as well. I'm not saying that an alcoholic can completely remove all of their issues with just quitting alcohol. But I am saying it is going to be a lot better by quitting alcohol than being an alcoholic. A lot of issues are going to be solved. Not all of the issues are going to be solved, but a lot of issues are going to be solved. You see, sometimes just solving one problem can get your whole life back on track. Maybe you are not an alcoholic, or you do not have any addictions. You still can find out 1 or 2 things you can get better at that are going to improve your overall quality of life. This principle also has been utilized by Microsoft as well. They have figured out that by fixing the top 20% of the most reported bugs and errors, almost 80% of the related errors and crashes in the system would be eliminated. You can implement this mental model in your everyday life as well. As I already said, that you can eliminate 80% of your tribulations by solving 20% of the problems. You can also see it in a different way. 20% of your efforts are going to result in 80% of the results. If you are working in an organization, there might be a chance that you have a lot to do with a limited amount of time in hand. You can use the Pareto principle in that situation as well. You need to figure out the 20% of the activities that is going to get the most results. This is a great way of navigating through the hectic schedules of the corporate office. You can either delegate or delete the works that are not going to bring the most result. You can use the Pareto principle to manage your time as well. I have personally used this method to organize my time, and I have been more productive for this. The thing you need to do is find out your more productive hours. Everyone is different, and the hours might change as you age as well. You might be productive first thing in the morning. You might have a creative burst around noon. You might also be a night owl, and your most productive hours might be at midnight, when the rest of the world is sound asleep. Whatever it is, schedule your work in a way that your most important tasks are taken care of in that time zone. As I said, the time zone can change over time. When I was in college, I used to have the best work done around 8 to 10 a.m. in the morning a.m. And now that has shifted to 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. What you need to do is figure out the time you are most productive and then prioritize the most important tasks for that time to be completed. There are plenty of times for other low-value works. The real trick here is to find out the time when you are most productive. And after that, it is going to be easy to prioritize the most important task in that specific time period. And now that was the end of Pareto principle. If you want me to talk more about it or provide more examples, then you can comment below. Before I move on to the bonus content, I would like to say that you have the option of supporting me and this channel through Patreon. Even the smallest bit helps. By supporting me there, you will be making sure that this channel is going to survive and thrive in the future. Thank you. And now for the bonus segment. For bonus today, I would like to talk a little bit about Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was born in July 356 BC and he died in June 323 BC. He died very young. He was only 32. And in that young age, he ended up conquering most of the world. The thing most people don't know about Alexander the Great is that his actual name was Alexander III of Macedon. His father was Philip II of Macedon. And his mother was Olympias of Epirus. Now, his cause of death is debated to this day. What is absolutely certain is that he was very sick for at least 10 days before his death. The cause of death has been debated between poisoning to malaria to typhoid to fever to many other things. But it is still debated. And congratulations, you have reached the end of this video. Warm gratitude for watching this video until the end, unless you just skip to the conclusion part. Then I am still thankful for clicking on this video, but a little bit less for skipping around. And you already know that you can like, comment, subscribe, share and everything else. God bless you. And lastly, I hope you learned something new today.